Good morning, Nayyera. Let's talk more about this. Of course, nobody really saw this come, especially from Washington. Biden, of course, they underestimated the scene. Friday, the Pentagon said Kabul was under no imminent threat. So how did they get this intelligence so wrong?
And that's going to be the Monday morning quarterbacking on this, is how did this go so wrong so quickly? Now, Mike, you mentioned your military service. Let's be clear. The military knew that the Taliban had been at the advantage for quite some time. Actually, the last time the Taliban were officially in retreat, get this, 2001. 19 years ago. That was probably the best time to cut a negotiated peace deal. That is when, in the Bush administration, though, instead of just keeping the mission at getting at the people who launched the attack on the United States, who made 9/11 the disaster in U.S. history, instead of just sticking with that, the mission turned into building a democracy in this country. That democracy never took root in a natural, organic way, and has always been propped up, if not by the United States, then by other governments who had their own agendas in the region. And the Taliban have literally been waiting and biding their time because they have known at some point the United States would leave.
Yeah, they spent so much money over there to try and train up the forces over there, and it seems to be for naught. Look, we're watching the airport right here. We saw the dramatic video of some of the Afghanistan and people following the U.S. plane. The evacuations, they don't appear to be chaotic. They are. So, but what are you hearing over there?
It is a very, very grim reality for the Afghan people right now. For context, right, over the course of 20 years, while the Taliban and the United States were still engaged in battle, there were people living thriving lives. Universities were open to women for the first time since the 1980s. There are girls right now who started in school. They were born and now have finished high school during this era. They read about the Taliban in their history books, and now they are looking at the very grim reality of what they might face. So women activists are under particular threat right now. The other group that is really concerned and worried right now are those who worked alongside our military. We've heard them referred to as SIVs, special immigrant visa applicants. There have been, over the course of the 20 years, 10,000 of them in the pipeline. Very few have actually made it to the United States, and that is some of what is really of concern right now to our veterans, to our members of the military, is how do you now, within this chaos, make sure that those people that you had promised you would take care of them, how do you even get them to an airport that is surrounded by the enemy?
Yeah, those people are probably viewed as traitors right now by the Taliban people. But you know, when American troops, when we pulled out of Iraq, we saw the rise of ISIS. We went over there because of the terrorism threat after 9/11. What concerns do we have right now of the Taliban? Even after all the promises that they've given the United States over the years about not going back to that.
And the irony is that their promises have never really been ironclad. They have been negotiating with the United States and other parties, but they have remained a militant organization. The ultimate cause of the war was an al-Qaeda attack. It was several Saudi nationals who then had their leader hiding in Afghanistan, and the Taliban government gave support to Osama bin Laden. That was the start of the mission, was to get and root out al-Qaeda. However, it was quickly realized that there was the environment the Taliban had created also supported al-Qaeda. And that is the challenge that we're seeing right now, is 20 years later, are the Taliban going to create another environment in which they welcome terrorists and from other countries? That's going to be why the United States does keep military assets in the region. There has been the announcement of U.S. operations Afghanistan forward. That means the United States has military positioned in different places around Afghanistan. That's also why the 82nd Airborne Division is able to get to Afghanistan relatively quickly after having been deployed on Friday to be able to help evacuate U.S. civilians and U.S. diplomats.
Nayyera, we only have a couple of seconds here, but I want to ask you your perspective, because you've done an outstanding job being first and giving us this great information coming over from Afghanistan. 20 years, we spent trillions of dollars, with lives lost. We did stamp out some terrorism, like you said, to get the terrorists out of Afghanistan there. But once again, the stability of the country is actually for naught, and now the Taliban is taking over again. In your estimation, was it all worth it?
The United States, made a promise over multiple administrations to the people of Afghanistan, and they are the ones who feel betrayed right now. Our veterans are also feeling a sense of loss and betrayal. So it is a very, very grim day for all involved. Whether or not the United States should have stayed is still up for debate. Clearly, though, there was a loss, and the American public has for quite some time been willing and ready to move on.
Yeah, a lot of the presidents have been saying, like you said, the support from the United States. We've been trying to get rid of this war and end this war for a long period of time. It happens to fall under the Biden administration, and that's why he's getting a lot of the heat right now and a lot of the criticism. Nayyera Haq, once again, outstanding job all weekend long, giving us the latest from Afghanistan. We appreciate you starting your day with us.